Hey, good morning, Waterside. Just wanted to bring you up to speed where I'm at. I just want to show you, we're looking at a gorgeous golf course and specific happening there is that most people are taking their shots and they're going a little bit errant. They call them a little bit errant. They're golfing like I golf. Wrong way. You should be going straight down the fairway toward that green, toward that hole, and they go off to the side. There are literally hundreds of lost golf balls. It's an interesting property because the golf course sits there and then a little creek, and the golfers aren't allowed to cross the creek where this subdivision where we're at happens to be. So they could see their lost shots, but they can't do anything about it. They can't go after it. Uh, as I sat and reflected every morning now for the last couple mornings as we're visiting our relatives here, we just come to the understanding that life is pretty much like that game of golf. It seems like of all the good shots that they take, what takes the longest period of time, perhaps in that golf game, is chasing down that errant ball, chasing out that bad shot. And a lot of people spend a lot of time. They waste the time. It slows down the whole process. Everybody involved gets a little bit behind the line, and things start to stack up. And there's all this wonderful interconnectedness that goes on in the game as people start to get dependent upon those people who are chasing down the lost shot. And the more I sat, the more I reflected about that, the more I thought that that's kind of what we like to do in life, I think, is that we spend all of the time chasing down the lost opportunities rather than grabbing hold and seizing that great opportunity which we've been given by God and moving forward. We kind of go after the lost shot. And then we'll bring our friends over. Our golf cart mate. Then, if we're in a foursome, the other golf cart. So, pretty soon, four people are out chasing a ball that they'll never find. And again, it just speaks a little bit to life, where we spend a lot of time looking for things that we're just never going to find. But we do it because, well, that little nugget's important to us. We don't realize how that all fits into the bigger scheme of things and how we begin to miss the point of living life by chasing down the mistakes rather than focusing on the good. Life in general guides us to realize that, well, we're all full of mistake making, and that's not a problem whatsoever. It's just the way life is. We learn by our mistakes. Uh, when we were taught, perhaps as young kids, about making mistakes, somehow the sin monster got involved. And if you make a mistake, then you're somehow going to be a sinner as well. And that's a way to look at sin, but perhaps not, in my estimation, the best. Sin is our rebellion from God, to be sure, doing things our way, not His, choosing our choices instead of His choices. We get that. We understand that. But living life also demands that we journey together, we walk together and find out ways in which we could be strengthened, help one another, grow in faith and love and charity to each other, and focus on the good things that we accomplish, the good things that we do, not focusing on all those missed shots. Uh, if we do, that's going to eat our lunch. It's going to drive us crazy. It's going to keep us from being optimally fulfilling what we need to do in our life and what God calls us to be. Because we end up focusing on all of the bad things rather than the good things around us. You could be complaining, if we use the analogy of the golf game, you could be complaining about the rough being there, but the rough kept your ball from going too far off, or the grass isn't cut just right, or the fact that I always hook or I always slice. We begin to tell ourselves things that become self-perpetuating truths. I always hit trees when I golf, so there's no problem there. I mean, that's not a dream or a fact or fantasy. It's just reality. But I don't focus on it, and I know where to look for my ball when I hear that chunk as it hits the tree, and I know that mistake making is part of living life, and that's just the way that it is. But perhaps there's a great deal of time wasted focusing on the mistake rather than just saying, okay, fine, And in the game, you've got to, at the price of golf balls, you got to do a little bit of looking, but it's just unique how much time gets spent looking for that lost shot, focusing on the mistake, looking at things the way in which you wished and hoped and wished, but they're just not going to happen. So for you and I, then, perhaps there's a little bit of guidance in all of this work, because we have an energy that we could pick up on, and as God gives us the ability to keep the focus where the focus needs to be. Look toward the good. Do the things that you're good at. Be fulfilled within what God has created you to be. Don't wish and hope for something else, a Jack Nicklaus or an Arnold Palmer I'll never be, but I could still enjoy the game. I could still go out and do things, but I don't have to focus on the lost shots. I could focus on the good shots, the things that are done well in life, and do that more than all of the bad. Now, I realize that that's a bit of a contrived example, but I also realize after many years that that's the way people choose to do. They'd rather focus on themselves and how bad things are and how they're pigeonholed into a bad situation. They don't want to go ahead and be in a better situation because, well, they're just stuck. And in their stuckness, they don't want to do anything about changing that. That's just the way that they choose to be. Well, for you and for me, we could be different. We could change our script. We could do things differently. The book doesn't have to have the ending we think it's going to. We can go ahead and refocus our attention on the good things that we're able to do, not the mistakes that we make or the bad things. Let the mistakes teach us. Let them guide us. Let them be an example for what to do and what not to do, so that the future is a little bit easier. But at the same time, then, by turning our attention toward that which is good, focusing our attention on what we should be doing, things might get a little bit easier. There's an old adage, and I don't know who's the origin of this, but you do what your mind focuses on the most. You're drawn to the center of your attention. So if you're thinking about how bad you are, you'll be bad. If you're thinking about how sick you are, you'll be sick. If you're thinking about how terrible things are, they're probably going to be terrible. If you're thinking about how great things can be, what a blessing you've been given, and how great it is today, and what kind of a blessing you could be to others today, you could do that as well. Our mind moves in the direction of our most dominant thought. Now that you could take to the bank. And if we're thinking about all those lost shots, if we're thinking about how many times we make mistakes, how bad we are, or how lousy our life situation is, I think we're thinking about the wrong things. God blesses each one of us richly. He gives us the gifts no matter where we are, rich, poor, whether we are strong or weak, whether we are healthy or sick, the blessing has come to us all. And in that process, those blessings are guiding us toward an understanding of what it means to walk humbly with God, to serve Him in this time and place, and to help our neighbor as we'd like to be helped ourselves. We could focus on the good and not so much on the lost shot. It's an important concept to master, and let's not waste all of our time going ahead and chasing down the wrong things, but instead maybe focus on one or two of the good things we've done today, this week, and tomorrow. Repeat those so that we get a string of good things happening again and again and again. That's what God would probably see us do best, to live the life that He would have for us fulfilled. It's a challenge. It's difficult. There's problems. That's life. But perhaps how we view life, how we react to it, and how much time we are willing to chase down those silly, bad shots, perhaps life could be a little bit different if we would think about how we could change. So I bid you peace this week. I hope that this has been somewhat helpful. If you're a golfer, limit your chasing of bad shots, or do what you have to do to keep that ball going down the fairway. A better shot would be a way to keep that from happening. And perhaps that's another analogy for life. Do better instead of do worse, and things could be improved. God bless. We'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning in to Waterside. Take care.